E vamos receber a TSM com Timotino! Seven! GMD! Alvin Boy!
TSM up against Envy, the two North American teams hitting the stage. I mean, we got to see the shush emotes, we got to see the crowd, we got to see the one TSM guy making sure that Envy knew that they were not about to win this. Roy, we are in for a banger.
Yeah, we're absolutely in for a banger. I mean, I love the walkouts. I think that was so fun and so funny at the same time. We got to see a little bit of the personality that we sometimes kind of miss on the stage, right? Obviously, everybody here is looking to have fun. Everybody's, you know, it feels like the vibes are up. Feels like everyone's just, they're ready to play their game. I think that this level of, you know, fun, comfort, the fact that there's 5 maps potentially to play is allowing these teams to just relax, you know, not be so stressed out. And I think the level of VALORANT that we're going to be seeing today, guys, is going to be absolutely bonkers.
Last time we had a full NA Grand Final was 2023 M80 versus the Guard, and that was a narrative that we talked about the entire year. We didn't know until the very end who was going to be laid that trophy, and ever since, the Guard, not only they ascended, but they maintained that spot under G2. For this time around, we don't know. It is the exact same scenario. Any of these teams can win. They have gone back and forth throughout the year. And today, it is a best of 5 to determine what that next year for these players is going to look like.
And heading into the best of 5, of course, Envy from this upper bracket, they get both the vetoes, and Corrode and Lotus are out. And they're going to take us first to Abyss. I mean, the turnaround they've had on this map dance since the last time they've played it. Last time was lights out, and looking to start this off with that momentum.
These two bans are always really, really important, and we're not really surprised about the first one, especially for Corrode. They have been banning 4 out of the 5 times that Envy has gotten the chance to play this. Lotus as well is a pretty familiar territory for Envy, so it makes sense, these two bans that we see early on. But what I was really, really interested on is what was going to be our first map going into this series, and it's going to be same as we saw in the upper bracket final, going into Abyss as the map selection for Envy. And I don't know what they're going to be playing, because they've played this map of Abyss 3 times in the tournament so far, and you know, they played against TSM 2 times, 1 time and against Stella, and they changed the composition every single time, Roy.
Yeah, I'd be very surprised if they get Kane's off the Jet, because I feel like he looked really good on it the last time they played against TSM. Obviously, it was one of the maps that, you know, kind of Envy started to get things rolling. we were all surprised to see them pick it. It feels like they finally stumbled on something that kind of makes everybody feel comfortable. I like their style on that map. I feel like they're going to try to replicate it here today. But obviously TSM getting that attack side is going to, you know, kind of make a bit of a difference here on this first map, guys. Because last time we did see TSM struggle a little bit on their defensive sides. They're having a hard time holding down the A defenses, which allowed Envy to have so much control over the macro, deciding where they wanted to allocate their pressure on that attack side. I feel like for TSM, they don't want that again. They want to change things up this time around. It's going to be Timotino locking in the Jet as always versus Kane Zera. Extra's in the mix as well. My eyes, guys, for this specific matchup here on this first half is how TSM is going to be dealing with this Vice utility coming out here from Inspire. Obviously, you're going to want to deal with the Extra and Kane Zera aggression. You do not want to get dominated on the map control. So look for those mid-aggression here from Envy because they're not going to be sitting still on sites.
That composition is the same as last time that they played each other with Kane Zera, like you said, Rory, keeping this Jet that worked out so well. But I'm really interested in how TSM is going to be playing this. They were struggling on the defense that they started on last time around, but this time around, they decide to go for that attack side first. There's some opportunities that they can take as they were doing in that last years for those last few rounds, putting a little bit more of that A pressure, and then also playing these 4-1s where they're trying to get a lot more of that mid control early on. This is a team that likes to play slow on the attack side, so this is something that I'm curious to see if Envy is going to be ready for this time around.
Inspire back on this Cypher, Kane on the Jet. This is a team of comfort. It's time to get started, you know, with the grand finals of VCT Ascension Americas. It all starts on Abyss with your casters. It's Tenric and Van Silly.
It was just shy of 2 years ago, on this very stage, where VCT Americas held its first Ascension Grand Final. And now, in what is the last Ascension of its kind, this match feels all too reminiscent. Explosive North American confidence meeting the old guard of yesteryear. Vance, we have seen what teams who win here can do. History is calling.
And if you're Envy, it doesn't matter if TSM beat you in the BO5 in the regional finals. If you're TSM, it doesn't matter that Envy knocked you into the lower brackets of Ascension. What matters is this moment right now on Abyss. A clean slate, one last BO5 to ascend to partnership, and TSM on the attack, trying to right their wrongs when Envy had the upper hand last time. Trying to challenge over here as Timotino is looking for that first pick.
You know, Envy's gonna wait for that open ground, having this as their first pick. They want to get warm and get there fast. Egster gonna take the brunt of that blow, but TSM has already been met so early on by these pistols, where they've notably struggled against solely TSM. They're 13 for 16 in this tournament against teams outside of TSM, 3 for 12 against TSM when it comes to pistols. This would be one of many rights to conquer on their way to making sure that that upper final win was not a fluke. Just creep up from GMD on that lower health pool and win the duel against Ion, and Alvin Boy will follow up quickly, make this into a 2v3 in an instant.
That was such a huge pick, especially when you're low HP. Extra is also only at 6, and the recon doesn't get too much value for the retake for Envy. So Alvin Boy and Vora do have an advantage now.
Oh, and Vora's found an outside angle before Poppin can start letting Util fly, and Alvin Boy's found the cutoff as well. Envy is the one forced to become impatient, and Exter, on that lowly 6 HP, has to find an impossible duel. Vora continues finding those angles from beyond the arc and gets another pistol on the board for TSM.
And a great start for the TSM squad when they're able to turn things around at a man disadvantage. Again, and one of those things when you change this comp for the side of Envy, where you brought out this Jet for Kane Zera, especially when they're playing the defense, this double push from the Yoru and the Jet was so hard to deal with on that side of TSM. And it looked like it was going to be that same start again until you went for a stop and go. A lot of space was given away because Extra TP'd away at 6 HP. And then you could creep up. GMD is going to be the one getting the opener and allows for them to have a hot start in this pistol round. It's a knife also only spots Poppin in the very beginning, but they've also realized right now that potentially with the forward push that they have on that side, that TSM could start leaning towards B, where there's only Inspire switching out from this Vice over to the camera of the Cypher. So think about all these one-way cages and those dirty traps that Inspire could always put once they have the money going on their side.
Most would say it's more of a comfort pick for him coming into this, and that's long been what gets Envy by, just falling back into what makes you feel your best. Of course, with this anti-eco, not many opportunities available, especially if Inspire isn't able to get that early cut. And it's GMD that will take that wayward angle this time. Find a quick 3-piece, try and make it 4. But I don't know, get at least 1 on the way down.
Some good damage at least, and also the Bulldog will get salvaged no matter what. So Ion even backing away. I think at this point, Envy also realizing that even though they feel that they could be better than any team that they played against in this Ascension, and that they could dominate TSM in this BO5, there is still a game plan that you have to respect. You can't give the orbs up. Vora is already halfway to his Hunter's Fury. GMD was only 1 away after, or is only 1 away now after his death to Ion. And you can already see here that you are trying to still play a very clean Valorant and not as aggressive or quote-unquote puggy as we've seen in a style of Envy in the past. So you can definitely notice in the server that both of these teams are giving not only each other a lot of respect, but also knowing what's at stake and that you can't maximize the mistakes in this series.
Yeah, Envy's game has been one of confidence this entire tournament. Just being told, yes, you can, is been what's gotten these guys so far by. Yeah. But reasserting that pressure by not losing your members, but still trying to maintain that continuous presence like you saw from Extra in round 1, Inspire in round 2. That's the kind of confidence that still persists from the Rankers play style of the last split of last year.
Going to see at least a start now, a 1-3-1 at the beginning for TSM, where the spike is even moving up on middle solo at first, as they're finally grouping up using both initiators to try to engage Timotino into the split over on this B side. So they have to make this noise so that GMG can get behind enemy lines from the front of that B site.
Yeah, a squeeze that you have to give yourself away for, and Extra once again able to just flash off of himself and turn it into Envy's own squeeze. Inspire finds the timing and gets a double kill. Extra the double assist, and the decoy has to be shot by GMD. That's a part of Extra's kit that he hasn't really gotten to shine on until the latter matches of this tournament, and that's been, in my particular opinion, the best part of his kit is that decoy usage. But GMD has so much else to work against in that fight too. It'll be a very clean bonus taken by him.
And the wall contact looked like it was really good for TSM to start, but they started creeping up very slowly towards Ivy to try to get the backstab towards Inspired's position. That said, though, Extra found a perfect timing. He engages right now, forces the players to try to trade off against him, and look how instantly Inspire reacts to support for the backlines, not only for trades, but also at that point, saving his teammate Extra from getting ran down by the other 2 players of TSM. So a great gun round into what could have been a very good bonus round for TSM, because they actually didn't have to invest too much into their bonus, and that could have started steamrolling the economy. Now back to a stalemate where you're trying to pressure over onto this A side. KaneZero is just playing a little bit of an off angle, but very tight to just watch and make sure that nobody's going to overextend behind this orb. And they're also trusting him to play this solo as a jet, not even with an op yet, not even a proc in his dash, and there's no util to get him ready. So you're going to have to count on KaneZero's reaction time right now on this lurk up from TSM.
Yeah, it's purely going to be if Kane is quick enough. Who has the hot foot? That's again been the driving factor in so many of these matchups. Who can get active first and have the win behind their sails? And Kane can get out as it's the drone that's committed. Now the decoy thrust out to just discombobulate a tad bit, but TSM can still infect the site, keep it contained. Envy once again play patient, play respectful, and Kane, as the smoke fades, will give himself away for the 1-for-1. Bora now down to quite the shred, so Envy try and find excuses to get active, but they're still able to poke at heaven so consistently with a lack of back hall presence that TSM can still play a decent chunk of keep away.
30 seconds left.
Bora and Timo both so low, and the spike's still not planted. Inspire able to get this lurk fully active now that he's checked damn near everywhere else on this map. But Vora looks like he's keen to it. Doesn't win the fight though. And that will likely settle this, as TSM have to kind of flip this on its head in order to gain any more headway in the fight. Timo keen to Inspire swing on that flank, so now you just have one angle to worry about. GMD finds the upstairs, but Extra is quicker to the blow and keeps one rifle stable for Envy tying things up.
A close matchup too. You saw that Envy were trying to delay as much as they could on Heaven so that Inspire could start activating on his lurk. Did get the backstab and it was able to take down Vora on low HP. But again, those 2 players remaining on the side of TSM, they've been hot so far since going into the playoffs. That's Timotino and even GMD himself, who's found his form from even back in like the Gen G days, if you're thinking how good he was as a controller for that team. back in the super early days of Valorant. That said, though, you're going into this round with a plat, so there's still a good buy out for TSM. And the money is still pretty decent for the side of Envy as well. You're definitely seeing a lot of big moments right now and opportunities for both of these teams to try to get these rounds. Them once again trying to find some pressure on the A side. A little bit more quick this time around, though. Looks like they are trying to get Vora into the 100 Fury as soon as possible to try to layer a mid-round entry. Now, you could also see the camera being placed up by Alvin Boy. They are trying to find some active information while they are controlling space to see where the second layer is going to happen here for the side of TSM. But as it stays quiet right now, Tenrek, it's just going to be a stop and go, waiting to see if they can hear potentially even a drone or a dart from popping on that side. And now, checkmate. They know that it's towards the A site. They could maybe find a timing right now to go for the full execution around this Hunter's Fury.
Yeah, you wonder what Poppin is going to decide to toss at you, which is why Poppin may have gone for this uncharacteristic operator. Tossing that recon may have dissuaded any of the flashing to just go for the flood, and he's right! He's found 7 on the entry. He swings out again and finds a second. He's gone insane on this operator before the rest of Envy gets here. Unrecognizable.
You gotta probably save at this point unless you're able to do a hero play. But dude, popping with the operator, and it's just his position that is so good. They went for the drone instead for Vora, so they could try to go for a tag at 100 Fury within the site somewhere. So it just holds the angle where he's not really going to get discovered by the main site of the A site. You're creating false presence. He finds the timing as the knife gets thrown, peeks out, and look at all these peeks he's getting. They were still desperately trying to find and get that scan towards that back of the site. Util in hand for the side of TSM, and Poppin just has an easy 4K with the operator. And this shows dangerous territory because now you're seeing 3 players probably, or maybe even 4 around Inspire that can really op around this team that can make it even more difficult for Envy, or Envy's defense for TSM. Because remember, we talked about how aggression was so good for Envy in the past. Now they're playing a little bit more turtled up, a little bit more reactionary, and the ops are hitting.
And then you can condition that overusage of util to enter in because you don't know how empty the threat on the site itself is. And that's letting Envy just cradle these entrances even more. Poppin's not even the only one with a sniper anymore, but he'll still be the one to find the frag with it. Extra picking that rifle back up, and Envy cleaning house quickly on this A site. This is already a fantastic start to the defensive mental game for Envy. They've allowed for so many different stressors so early into regulation.
Yeah, and you're almost seeing this type of play style for Envy without the aggression of the double duelists. It's almost like the old style of rankers before they got picked up by Envy. What they like to do for these anchored plays is give you false presence to let you think they could enter into the site quickly with your execution. But what they do is that you start flooding with hero plays around the players that are just outside of the site. You see a lot of run-ins, and then you just try to take down as many as you can. And you know the skills that these guys have, that it doesn't matter if you're just going to go on a 2 versus 5. Because if you drop down but you get your 1 on a 3 versus 3, you're still potentially favoring Envy for the retake that they could have and the capabilities that they have as a team around the macro and their skill to win these rounds. So now TSM is going to have to dig a little bit deeper right now to understand how they could play these pulse plants, or even once they set foot into the site, to just be wary of these early pushes out from Envy instead of these split retakes.
Wow, Alvin Boy, after his barrel was caught, recommitted to the swing in the mid, and Kane's arrow on his lurk ended up losing that fight. So while Envy have the read on the B, still a 5v4. Inspire with the early catch though, and that's a crucial bit of Envy's defense thus far, keeping it sequential. Inspire finding a second on top of his cage is so efficient with the usage of just like shrouding this entire space. Up to 3 now, just on the field. And Envy, they'll press the narrative a little bit, try and get Inspire in for number 4. Instead, Poppin is just gonna do some poppin' things. It's 5-2 now, holding on to this operator, holding on to all the space they need. The turtle is starting to come out of its shell a little bit, Vance.
And the crazy part is that Poppin is flanking with the operator when Asova is also very useful for reconning for the retake onto the sites. But it comes to show as well that the change of the Vice onto the Cypher. Look at that vertical trip that's placed by Inspire from the top of the railing above the site down to the ground. Just a pure counter to the positioning of a jet dash on that spot. When you think, for example, a double dive of Whaley and Yoru, Whaley could still pivot towards that side, but at least she could get away. That jet's just going to get slingshotted in a spot, and that space that allows a team to really exec towards that B site around the jet Cloudburst and dash in there is fully neutered now. So the next step for TSM is if they do want to try to pressure Inspire towards this B site, and they understand now that you are going back for these crazy trap plays and trap wires that are being set here by Inspire, do you want to force your hand, and show the Shark Darts at the very beginning, or do you just want to try to scale a little bit better within the sites and avoid these verticality moments first, and then just play within like the back angles and the tight angles around the walls on the floor after these plants? Because right now for TSM, they haven't had too many chances here to really even get a spike plant down where they're moving into these into either A or B. This is some really good defense coming out from Envy so far.
Yeah, TSM have to amp up the tempo one way or the other. That much is clear. Like you said, it seems like either they give themselves away too early when it comes to the read because of their positioning, or they just have to U-tilt up in order to safely clear a site. Either way, you're going to give yourself away. You just have to make the window a little smaller. Oh, already that Blade Storm getting called out, and TSM going to stare into the sun on this buy round. Sans, obviously, Timo's knives. And there's the U-tilt to safely get their way on. Inspire does have company, but it's company that's been pinged out. Now flashed away. Timo extends, 7 conquers, and TSM is on that B site. Step 1 done.
Poppin's just going to have to wait. They do have a dimensional drift to retake with. Yeah, darkness is a bit. But here's the info being taken. Nice cancel within the ult command at least to not allow more util to come through with it.
I mean, Poppin is just a walking operator at this point. One sight line is locked down. The rest Envy are just going to try and get their tendrils into. 7 on the null command is gone. Hunter's Fury on top of this spike, but they're starting to walk it down, and Bora doesn't have any more bodyguards left. Kainzera has thwarted all of them, and he's on the route to that Sova 2. 3 for the Jet, and 7 cannot do a thing while crawling. It's down to Alvin Boy from the link, and Kainzera clears him too for sport. 4 for that Jet, and that comfort pick is looking more and more comforting.
Yeah, and Kainzera is happy now that he's able to find that action, because if he stays quiet and they keep avoiding him, he's not going to be able to drop that 120 kills in a series that he wants in this grand finals of Ascension.
He's
so
got
for
a quota.
him to push down, exactly, he's made up for it. But you can also see the counter that you have. The dimensional drift is not affected by the null command, so Extra still has full value, falling and throwing that flash, catching the KO off guard. 7 falls, and that just allows the rest of the team to steamroll into the site. But what a push coming out from Kainzera in a big 4K. 10 kills now already into a round. Now you're seeing TSM going back into the Trident Shoe. So Alvin Boy's finding information here towards middle. The difference is right now instead is you also have Voro moving towards his B site. He is going to try to drone first, maybe try to find the camera, break that up at the same time, and then you will start executing towards A. This is the same type of style that Envy did on the attack versus TSM the last time you played, that Envy was able to win 13-4. Is this going to work? Is Envy going to fall into the same trap? So far, we've made it into the site, and they're not really biting for Envy.
Oh, popping off the recon, still holding onto that one shot. And now a flash in just to try and get the reset. Envy just doesn't care. It's all coming up their way. Eggster's flash, once again, just nabbing him 2 A's before he can even blink. And Vora, I mean, 45 seconds on the clock. The round is said and done. The tempo is amped. TSM util dumped. They did everything, and they still got God.
And Poppin, did he get a kill through the smoke assisting Ion? That is just an insane shot that he had from the heaven towards that back of the site. So right now there are multiple things that seems to be to put TSM running into a wall every time they're trying to go for these exits. Again, we talk about the chaos of these fights from Envy, not really giving a chance for TSM to set up to even get the spike plant down in these moments. That's layer number 1. The other one is just Poppin's unstoppable with this operator, and they're putting him so far Envy at the right places at the right time. And either he's opting backside, top heaven, or even B side, he is still getting so much value within the operator. Funny enough, right now though, is he switched out to a rifle, probably just trying to throw it away or something. Okay, no, he's having fun.
Yeah, he's just having a great time.
Yeah,
he's here for a good time.
I mean, during the walkouts, he was so zen walking through, just thinking that he's got this in the bag.
Well, at this rate, Envy does have that hot foot, and it seems like they're able to meet TSM at every checkpoint. Yeah, that first op off the ping, and then he steps out on the second. Yeah, I mean,
okay, he got the drone ping.
He had the drone to go for the second. It's kind of insane. Yeah, these past like 3 rounds, Poppin could have passed the op at any point. Again, you're still creating a target. Oh, I'm so sorry. Poppin had to buy the Outlaw this round. He had to downgrade.
Which is fine because this is a low buy for TSM. He understands the economy of TSM right now, so instead of investing that 4750 into the op, you just take the Outlaw because it's a 2-shot pop shot real quick. You could drop 2 right away.
He's so cerebral with it. Early meets Ion playing off of his own smoke, and he will get one outside of the swing. But so much presence has already been sold here with the decoy. Envy's being a little braggadocious about it, and yet they're not trying to keep anybody too static. So if TSM decide to leg it, they may win the foot race. No, we're chilling.
Yeah, and while we have a little bit of a garbage time, I just wanted to chuckle a little bit more about the Poppin jumping out of the map. He threw out his little cell phone, and it had discipline as a tagline under his name. And there he is jumping off the map with a 7-2 lead that they just got here against TSM, thinking like, okay, well, you think that TSM looks prepared. They didn't know how to anti-NB because they've already played against each other the last time in the upper finals in the BO3 that resulted in his victory for NB. The Poppin is just vibing, and he doesn't really care about what weapons he carries because, again, he could do no wrong with how he's shooting so far as the IGL for this team on defense.
That's how NV carries themselves, and that's how NV are able to carry things out. And this could be a short day.
Down B. 10 seconds left.
We got just a tad bit more garbage time for 7 to play around. On a mad dash. Hey, free rifle.
Right. You got it.
Let's go.
I was like, why don't you jump out of the map? Why don't you grab an orb? Why don't you try to get something to move within the round? And it looks like he just wanted to potentially just die so that he could still get the max bonus value. But thankfully, still gets a nice little shot against Inspire and even salvages and upgrades into a Vandal in the next round. So we're definitely going to take that. But you're definitely seeing here that there's a lot of struggle on the side of TSM to try to figure out how they could maximize their attack side. Because remember, once they take here the defensive side, there's been so many moments in the last time they played against each other that, you know, Poppin could just play that same type of fake that Vora did, but TSM bit into that because they weren't trying to fight for too much frontal space when these defaults are starting on the side of Envy. So once we switch sides here, I'm hoping to see a little bit more of aggression coming out of TSM in the same style that Envy has done in the past, and just try to fight toe-to-toe with these guys. I think they still need to have that same type of mentality that they are better than any team that they're facing off against, that they've already beaten Envy in the past. And in a BO5 at that too. Think about that regional finals that we were just mentioning before. A 3-1 that resulted in the favor of TSM to move in as his #1 seed here in Ascension, followed by Envy right after, who are never really flustered about the results. Or wherever they start in tournaments, no matter where they are, they're still going to make sure that they're going to win no matter what position they're facing up against. So it's quite nice to see this type of battle between these two teams in North American Grand Finals that has 10 players that has been looking very good throughout this whole tournament.
Maintaining that confidence is everything. It's the conversation that Envy had so many times that we're able to put them a leg above TSM in that winners finals. TSM need to have that mobilized, and there's not too many pockets on this map to do it. Eggster toying with this cyber cage as the mid-entry is really Kane'Zera. And that'll deal with Alvin Boy out the gate here. TSM again have to pump up the gas on the A entry, and Poppin is still hanging out here, able to skirt away too before Timo fully blusters through. But again, Envy are already here to meet it, already ready to fight. 7 turning to it, but sandwiched, and the spike is left on truly an island. Timo having to skate this slowly. Tough start. Inspire's able to snag it. And one more pocket gone here on Abyss for TSM to get themselves heated up.
Almost like the conversation for that second time out for MBS was to talk to the team and say, look, if we're going to try to get into these sites, maybe trying to continue the pressure to take control of security backside is not a good idea. Let's try to take Heaven instead, which is where the pathing of Team Matino went, just to make sure they don't get flooded back from that Heaven side where Poppin got so much value out of this Sova before. But on that 2 versus 3, it seems like 7 was trying to go for some sort of a hero play, jumped up on the top of the site, got 1 kill, but like you said, he's sandwiched on both sides. Well, we'll cut that noise, though. We'll cut the conversation because we do have, once again, some early aggression. A camera to look down towards the line. It sees nothing, though. So that is at least a little bit of breathing room for TSM to start to execute towards the A site. But finally, as the camera re-pops up, here comes the reaction from Envy. Rotating for a lot of mid control, but still trusting here that TSM are going for a fake pump from the B site to rotate over. So far, so good. And how they're currently reading this until the drone, once again, is the second thing that gives them false information. So camera 1, drone 2nd. And TSM has pivoted correctly towards the A site right after.
Yeah, this is a really solid juke considering how expansive Abyss is. And Envy has also negated their ability to have any mid extension, so they have to kind of slow clear that too if not all 5 members of TSM have been spotted. Exter hold up in heaven here. This is such a nasty spot, and he'll come away with one before getting felled. Poppin able to escape as the Cypher ulti will confirm no flankers for Envy's side. But Poppin with that 100 Fury can get Kane Zera upstairs quickly, and Poppin's just gonna get 2 with his ulti anyway. He doesn't even need the help. Oh, but he's gonna get it. Kane Zera giving his body to the problem as Timatino has been cornered away and has to fight his way through the pack. It's a 10-2 from Envy, folks. They are up. They are awake. They are ready to win.
And you have players who don't care to get spotted here by the neural theft. Despite such a huge kill by Alvin Boy, they get the information that all 4 players are rotating back from top middle. Yet, while they're still trying to set up util, smoke out from GMD, look at this push up for Kane Zera. Instant kill. Poppin somehow gets 2. Make that some damage, so much damage with the Hunter's Fury to not give a chance for TSM to set up towards the end. This is a very tough look for TSM to start this grand finals, despite them winning that pistol round. So since we've had the gun round from Envy in that round number 3, it's been Envy's story all along.
They have been truly lit. And switching over the half where they can continue to dare TSM to match their aggression, to match where they can fully collect. It's, I mean, it was a tough spot for TSM to enter into. Envy getting that double map ban. This was definitely a good opening for Envy. They have been on a hot streak on this map in particular. We gotta figure out who we're voting for.
Guys, I told you which one it is. It's the RGX. Oh, nice little moment there. But yeah, no, I agree with you, Tenric. It's been such a good game for the side of Envy so far. I mean, if you're looking at it, Kane Zera already 5 first bloods going into the defensive sides. 2 from Exter. Poppin, despite him having so many kills on the operator, and it looked like he was the first one in contact every time. Whoa. He's only at 1, but yeah, that's a nice little cosplay of Omen there. Yeah, that's sick. But yeah, it's definitely when you have Poppin and Kane Zera firing on all cylinders, where you don't really need nothing yet from Exter, Ion, or Inspire. This is looking like a dangerous team to face off against here for the grand finals.
You saw the differences between Envy, you know, in these opening 3-4 matches in these last 6-7 maps that they've played. It's been night and day, not just for Kane, but for Envy as a whole. Communication far more locked, reaction far more confident. Everyone understands just how capable they are on a whole nother level. Envy's hitting a new gear, and TSM have to throw a wrench in it.
It almost makes you wonder when it comes down to like Agent Select 2, and they're like, oh, well, maybe we had a plan for Vice already before, depending if we start off on attack or defense. But then once they start defensive side, Inspire's just like, well, I got something to do here with the Cypher on that B site. They've done such a good job having Inspire and Poppin just locking down these 2 areas at the very beginning. Now TSM will have to try to do similar things. Unfortunately, they have a little bit less of aggression in their utility because they are not playing the Yoru, but at least they have the KO for the same type of flashes, similar flashes that they want to fight up against. But you do see here at the start, we asked for aggression coming from the side of the TSM squad. They have done so already. Timatino pushing all the way forward and now cuts the line and get information. He's going to hear the footsteps. He's going to call a rotate across.
This will be early if nothing else. Poppin has been disciplined. Oh, you've been a bad boy, Poppin. Timotino gets away with 2. And Envy's got to fully commit to this B overload, but Kane's era is perfectly content with that. High ground quickly, second kill quicker. Alvin Boy locks it down and leaves Ion with the world on his shoulders. It'll no doubt be another TSM pistol round. Perfect way to start up the half, you've got to say.
A great push-up by Timotino. Because again, when it comes down to those moments, Timotino says, okay, I hear a couple of footsteps moving forward here, but let's not overreact yet. And that's been the issue of TSM on their defensive side last time. They were so quick and keen to rotate when Poppin was throwing these owl drones at the beginning of the round. So you see it once again. Envy's trying to go for that same type of fake, despite this time being on the A side. Owl drone, pull out these rotates, go for a late hit towards B. But after Timotino gets those 2 kills and sees nothing left, I mean, everybody else is just ready for that B side push. So a very good pistol round. And for them to try to convert here, the anti-eco should be easy. We only have classics and a sheriff for King Zero solo. And then we'll have to think about the next round. And Envy has been very good from rifles on out. Now maximizing over control. Poppin's going to pick that up. They have control of the B side as well. So you can definitely see here Envy, all of them rotating over on that side to give it to Poppins. So I wonder if we're going to jump off the map after. But in TSM's fashion, or sorry, Envy's fashion, I don't think they will.
Yeah, they live to give it a go.
Deploying drone.
No doubt they will here. No reason not to unload what little you have to just get onto the site. I mean, planting the spike is so much of what you're going for at this point. TSM, it doesn't look like they'll let go of too much to stop that specifically. Though their unload game is so momentous with that flash. 4 is eventually going to find that kill, but it does take the rest of his mag, so 7's got to clean the rest. And that does give Kane a couple seconds, and that means he's got 2 free kills. Now you've got to sequence him out, and already you've had to use 2 of your damage tools in order to even suss out 1 corner, and Kane's just going to take it right back. That's how he lives to fight. Despite that, though, TSM can still keep 3 guns stable, finish that round off, and these pistols and eco so far so good, fans.
It's dangerous, though, because Kane Zero had 2 beautiful shots off that sheriff. And then when you see that he dodged both utils trying to flush him out from that shock, the shock bolt to that fragment grenade on the side of the KO, I thought he was going to be able to headshot 2 other ones that were pretty much one-shottable off the dome. But thankfully, Timotino comes out, saves his teammates. And this is where it becomes important. We talked about it before. The same scenario as the first half. They still have a great buy going into their bonus, but they got flushed by Envy. Envy had probably, what, a flawless 4 players alive at the end of that round. Now they tried to go for a trap play with a TP with a pop flash, and Nexter was already ready for that, playing anti and getting that pick. And it seems like we have potentially the same story that's going to continue here in the second half.
Yeah, just trying to find a pressure point to interrupt, but instead, yeah, Envy's ahead of all of it. And who else but Kane to be the first man to speak after that spike goes down. That round's over in an instant, and Envy are continuing to just work with their strengths. These rifle rounds look so endlessly formidable, and they just will need 2 more to seal this first map.
I was going to say jump off the map, but now giving your life away. The headshot at least, but no kills. I was just about to mention just how aggressive Kane has been. Even getting those 2 kills, dashes forward to even cut the rotates and try to not give a chance for Alvin Boy to even save his weapon or be in a spot where he could find a timing, because he already pushed back towards that spawn, making a lot of noise. Alvin Boy feels like he has to make a play, so he goes for the rappel up to try to get that battle into the mid connector.
Yo,
but that gives an orb here to Exter. And they could have been in a scenario where they could still buy anyways into the next round, so I would have expected the jump off the map, but no G2 fashion for TSM either. You just need to warm up their aim as well going into these fights. Remember, this is still a BO5, where Envy definitely looks a little bit more woken up here to kick off this series.
And that's definitely gotten teams far here in Sao Paulo. The nerves continue to impact players, especially in the openings to these matches. You definitely see little bits of indecision. Obviously, still the most polished we've seen either of these teams yet. Envy Oh, this is the best ankle breaker we've seen so far this game, isn't it? Vora has to be the one to catch it, but Envy's already
Shock dart.
completely skirted this sideways. It could just be a free B site. Trapwire is going to be able to momentarily catch Eggster, but yeah, it's a drop in the bucket.
And that's the difficult part. As you over-rotate now for mid-control, you give up the site, all those trips are broken. It's hard for you to retake, especially now that you have a Hunter's Fury on the pulse pad outside the A ramp. That might be what helps them win the round, especially now that Poppin even identifies the alert from GMD.
Hunter's Fury once again out from Poppin on the execute, but TSM has already spread so wide on top of this. Feels like you might want to wait for the spike tap. Instead, TSM can take care of the site and then Poppin, make it nice and clean. Feels like a couple of members of Envy got a little antsy and didn't wait a little longer for the overload to come. Seven's flash drives got so much purchase off of that alone, and then Timo was able to extend a little more than he needed to because of that. It collapsed pretty quickly.
Yeah, and again, I feel like with the aggression that you have to the control towards Ivy, that might be the reason why you're supposed to have Poppin in that angle so you could support with the Hunter's Fury once you get contact, so that players on site can really help you into just holding the flood coming out from TSM. But because Poppin was so focused on trying to take the flanker instead of giving that responsibility to whoever was in the window, I think that was Kane, then it makes it a lot more difficult for the players inside that B site to stay and hold their ground and not allow Poppin to even get a lineup to be comfortable in how he wants to play his Hunter's Fury. So that said, null command to try to counteract the push on this B site, even a knife to get a lot of information on top of that. I think it even hit 4 players at the entrance of that B site.
Yeah.
So this is going to reset everything at the mid round.
I cannot use
If
that.
TSM know that Envy's been clocked, then Envy are going to recognize that as a moment to just go for the full-blown fight because they know that their stack is better, but the null command is able to at least stall that. Now comes the unload from Envy. It'll be a full-blown scrap on the site, and Alvin Boy's found the pocket on his cyber cage to crack open a second. Now a third as he spins the books. Vora's got to take his place, and he will make it work against Ion to make it a 3v1 against Inspire that's been found out by this neural theft. So TSM can play this as slow or as quickly as they want with 50 seconds to go. The spike completely theirs. It's on Inspire with this camera to try and find a pocket of positioning. Recon Bolt already slowing him down the one time, but now he will try and find some semblance of understanding of how to swing into this triple stack. But swing, he must.
It goes correctly, though.
30 seconds
Yeah,
left.
that was a great opening. Couldn't find a head. Attempt number 2, 25 seconds to go, and it's too wide at that point. TSM is able to boldly go a little forward and take it to 6-11. So gears are starting to turn the other way here for sure, Vans. It is definitely a lot of timing involved. TSM have to continue getting the read down, but if they can do that, they can meet the threat.
That's off this play right here from Alvin Boy. That cage set up inside the site gets a
Fantastic.
lot of audio cue of players are running inside. He gets the first 2 picks, the neural theft, and even the third to really help the team identify where Inspire is going to be. So when we talk about how Inspire is really good in these anchor plays as a Vice, as a Cypher, Alvin Boy is also another one of those key components as a Sentinel player for the side of TSM that was highlighted and underlined by the desk earlier on. This matchup that you have between these 2 Senti players are definitely one of the win cons of this roster. And then when you're looking at the tip of the spear on, unfortunately, every time TSM so far has to play against Envy, it's always Timotino having to play against 2 types of duelists, with being Exer on this permanent Yoru, and whatever King decides that he wants to play for whatever map. So it's definitely going to be a lot of responsibility and difficult fights that Timotino will have to try to take here if they want to stand a chance against Envy for TSM.
Yeah, the unfortunate part of being the first person to have to look into Envy is that you're the first person to take everything that Envy is launching at you. And Eggster is no slouch when it comes to letting go of those flashes early. He is going to take position over long-term fighting any day of the week, and he'll use his flashes on top of himself to get there. And of course, yeah, Kane'Zera playing literally any duelist under the sun at this point to find that side swipe. And the kid's now up to 20 kills, 10 assists, 17 rounds deep. Yeah, whatever kind of meds they gave him to get unsick, it's worked for him again. Maybe he just needs to say he was sick, and then he just manifests that he becomes better.
Cooled down a bit, though, so far, but we're still early in the second half. He was 14 in the first and now at 21, so hasn't had the best successes going for entries here, especially for this one towards Ivy on this half buy for the side of the attack.
Planted.
At least they get the plant down. That's the main thing that you want. Timing looking to be found by Poppin, but this looks to be a pretty clean TSM round for the retake.
Yeah, I'm content with how Envy
player
approached that,
standing.
though I think Kainzera had a good attempt at chipping with that Bucky on the early approach to Ivy. That was really, like, quick and efficient. Got Envy really easily onto site, able to get that spike down without having to lob too much more. So they at least extend that for a couple more seconds, force TSM to stay a little bit sweaty, but about how you expect things like that to go. Envy just want to go for the fight that they can hold advantage in.
Yeah, and you see also the positioning of the trips being placed by Alvin Boy slightly different to Inspire. The advantage that you have right there with that vertical trip that you place a little bit deeper, you just saw it at the middle of that B box, is if the pathing of the Jet dashing up, she's going to think the coast is clear, and they usually, in the side of Envy, they continue to like to push, just like we saw Kainzera do. So if he actually gets hit by that trip on that top, he could get spammed through smoke from Heaven, he gets spammed through smoke from Ivy, and an Alvin Boy could just hold the grounds while his teammates are fighting from the top of the sites. So really nice little setup on the side of the defense, but how to react now on the dimensional drift.
That's unlike Envy to allow a window like that to an Opper. Timotino able to find Kane despite the dimensional drift creeping all the way up to that doorstep on Heaven. And Exter will cede that high ground, so TSM do have a couple more front doors to crack through. GMD, though, able to take care of Inspire very early into this post plant. And so Envy has to re-engage on that flank angle a second time to make sure that that smoker is dealt with. Extra meeting it early, and now Poppin feels a lot more comfortable back on this operator. Vora, Hunter's Fury, only one tick, but yeah, Envy's already crunched this too quickly. Vora's got to abandon ship and go for the long game in this 1v2, and Poppin with this backstop on the operator gets Envy to 12.
He Hunter's Fury from bottom pillar and then jumps back up into the site to get the second backstab from behind site. That is just insane movement coming out from the side of Envy, finding every single nook and cranny that they could timing through to get the kill there on their opponents. Despite GMD winning the late lurk from Inspire, who was trying to get that backstab right over at that replay you just saw, the rest of them were just very good to just play on that site. Look at that timing on Iron from the back. Even though he gets traded out, it gives so much timing for the rest of the team to move forward. Look how easy that op shot becomes in the end for Poppin.
TSM is still boasting a decent eco. Timo gonna launch those knives out just to meet any headlong threat, and it's once again barreling towards this B site. No dimensional drift in your way this time, and Timotino is allowed an elbow, but not enough time for Kainzera to act upon it, and the rest of TSM is here to police this B site. Ion can at least refrag Vora, who steps a little close to the sun. This mid swing back to the B site where Spike has been abandoned is everything. Inspire will not find the connection, and so TSM can hold on to that tempo. Control when they relent, and when they drop the hammer again in this 4v2. Ion daring to TP up, but Alvin Boy so prepared for it. Yeah, you're not going to make it all the way into that smoke this time, but instead it's just Kane using that as an opportunity to get himself just a little bit closer to this objective, to maybe another kill on the board, another slight at their economy. For that is all he can settle for this round.
A for effort for the TP, though. A for effort for the TP.
Yeah.
Just outside of the smoke, and it was just an easy kill by Alvin Boy towards the end. And you could see at least TSM, they had no worries. You already had that flank coming out from 7. You already had control of where that spike was. So every single player could just hold their ground. As soon as the contact comes across, because he's holding that angle aggressively, everybody could swing back out from Heaven in the front of the site. So nice little hold by TSM. There's that kill. You tried to muster up everything that you could to try to stay alive in this game, of course, because it's map point for the side of Envy. So to be able to salvage that round, to be able to build that economy up and an op back in the hands of Team Latino while you're breaking the backs of Envy economically, gives you a chance.
Keep trying to thrust that chest across the finish line. There's Kainzera, always the first to it, but TSM again can just drop the hammer. And it's 7 this time that sees the open channel. 1v3 for Inspire post Neural Theft. He'll have a free line to the B site, and he will beeline that free line.
And thankfully, there's still some stalls though from Malvoboy. Look at that, cutting that rotation from top middle, even towards Ivy. Probably going to try to stick into the camera, or they're just going to let Inspire plant, and he's going to leverage that camera on the pulse plant once they get closer to figure out if Inspire is going to play somewhere deep within that spot.
Yeah, bevy of spots you could tool yourself up here. even with just the one wire. Close enough proximity where if Inspire isn't actively peeking, then TSM can probably just thwart it early. It's moments like these that, yeah, you could feel inspired.
We are in with that smoke.
We have the smoke. GMD did not TP in. Inspire just pokes through on the wire. They didn't catch it. Alvin Boy's holding the spike, though, inside the smoke, and Inspire gets the body block on top of him so that Vora prevents Envy from getting it done here. TSM continue to make the climb.
I saw that coming from a mile away, that Inspire potentially going to clutch that 1 versus 3. Especially when that smoke comes down, he has 2 layers to defend that spike. So the first one crosses that trip. He gets the wall bang on the kill. The second layer was that camera. If that camera actually did get the ping to the diffuser, that's another wall bang kill. It will diminish the smoke, and then he'll play the 1v1 off time. Thankfully, though, what happens secondly is when he pops the camera, he can't see the diffuser. The smoke, probably not intentional, was still good enough to block the vision of the camera to allow here Inspire, or TSM rather, to get the round. Still map point for Envy. Still a not for Timotino, and is holding down that B line.
Missing inches to take miles, and that is a huge miss for Timo. Game shifting.
Such a rare miss.
You can stick this for like 20 plus seconds now. Inspire can hang.
I mean, exactly. You have so much map control in your favor right now. You could go back into some sort of a fake pump if you wanted to, but it seems as though Envy, they just want to go all out here towards this A side. They have to hunt this Fury to try to open up. They still have the double duelist to entry for the team. So this camera is going to help at least for Alvin Boy to start getting set up. And he's good here with these cages that he places within sight, but just got spotted by the drone. This will make things even more difficult.
Has to play off of himself twice over. Hunter's Fury for Poppin to escort the entry. Alvin Boy finds one with that shorty on the proxy one-way. So it'll be a 4v3 as he's traded out. And that spike that still has to be contested. Drone out on Heaven is quite early, as is the null command on top of it. TSM want to fight proper here and now. 7 extension on the flash drive, instantly popped by Kane. They have so much presence though! And TSM ram it down from Heaven. GMT holding his own as he skirts the corner. And Inspire, another 1v3. No setup, no chances. TSM hit double digits.
And they weren't really together to try to cover up that spike because they always know that Inspire could be anywhere in these moments. He never showed his hand in the beginning, so now finally as they smoke up the spike, they force the run out, they hear the footsteps, they get the pick, but that retake was very quick by TSM in the end. Alvin Boy did his best. I mean, like I said, he got spotted by the drone in the very beginning, so the best that you can do if you really want to anchor that way is to just to get your one, and he gets it. Null command becomes a drone, it gets traded instantly, and look how good Vora comes through with GMD again. Whew, they're 2 rounds away of being able to tie this game, and Envy are also gonna pull their last time out. We thought at a 7-2 scoreline, it was already gonna be, okay, let's focus on the next map here, 10 reg. I think everybody had the same idea, seeing how dominant Envy kind of looked on their first half. But now you could see that it is gonna be a game that would potentially, or probably, will go the distance in the BO5.
Every player on that stage has their mind set on 1 round and 1 round only, the next one.
Yeah.
And with TSM inching ever closer on this attack half, they feel imbued. They feel able to match at every corner. Like you said, GMD and Vora on that last retake, so mobilized, so independent. And again, the confidence conversation, that was so much of these North American teams' journeys, from challengers to here. It has always been, you are better, you can be better, you can be the best. And you're so close to it now.
And in good old-fashioned for Envy, any type of timeout play is always a dangerous team to play up against. A stinger buy for a lot of the players, and also a Bucky for Kane Zera. Potentially a dash for Heaven Control, and thankfully we have some very early information from this knife. Bingo on all 5 players.
So consistent for 7, and TSM able to meet the threat quickly. This has always been a sign for Envy to just go in, balls to the wall anyway, see what they can come up with, and after that paranoia, 7 is still unchecked, and 7 is lit! 3 for the KO! already halfway to his next null command. And Kainzera has to turn tail and go just for the suicide, which he will just barely float away with as TSM hover to 11 off of that eco round. I'll give the man a chance.
He's gonna try to knife him. Everybody's having fun in the server, and you know when Kane was walking out, yeah, I mean, he looked stoic, very calm, but as soon as he stepped on the stage, you saw that he was giggling just with his team in Ion, and they are here to have a blast. So he was trying to make sure here that nobody could get an orb, but even then, even if some damage was being taken while he's jumping down, you already had the ult available for Alvin Boy, so that's not too bad. Mission accomplished, at least for that side. But the thing is, a bigger mission accomplished for the side of TSM with some immense and tremendous shooting coming out from 7, holding up that front A site. Big round coming up. Dimensional Drift with the judge. They're trying to fake up the B site with it.
If not now, then when? Dimensional Drift. Popped.
Oh my.
Oh, Vora catches Ion with the Hunter's Fury, and TSM trying to go for the scrap here. Exter with the pop out of the Dimensional Drift, catches the 2 early infringers with that judge. Vora, early cutoff, out of bullets though, and so it's a 3v2. Envy's way on the A site. TSM trying to meet it early. Kainzera trying to find a head as he's on such low HP. The recon bolt catching out Kainzera's next kill. Timo with a 1v2, and Poppin's got his number. Almost the kill on his own, but down to 50 HP apiece. And Inspire still full, loaded, set up. Timo so much to breach, but he found Poppin. Inspire though.
The lurk.
What does he do? What does he do best?
Attack.
And he gets Envy over the line at the very last moment to take their first map pick of Abyss.